Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Darshil and I'm a freelance data engineer and a YouTuber. In this particular video, we will be discussing about one of the most important projects in the space of data engineering, that is building AWS Snowflake data pipeline using AWS Kinesis and Airflow. These technologies such as Snowflake, Airflow are high in demand in the market. So if you do these type of projects, there are high chances that you will get job in data engineering and you'll be able to become a data engineer with the new tools and technologies. So let's understand what we will be doing in this particular project. First thing is we will create the real world batch streaming ingestion pipeline using AWS native services. So we will write some kind of Python code that will generate some data based on the data set we have, and that will ingest those data into Kinesis stream. Using AWS Kinesis service, you can easily manage real-time data. We will understand more about these services in the further down the video. Second thing is configuration ingestion pipeline using AWS managed Airflow. So to build a pipeline, we will be using Airflow. Now instead of installing Airflow on some local machine or some EC2 machine, we will be using managed service, so we don't have to worry about the installation or the configuration part. Third thing is performing ingestion and transformation in Snowflake. So Snowflake is a software as a service database, so you can store your data, transform it, and you can do a lot of different things. Then we will also discuss about the drawbacks of Snowpipe and its alternative, role management and securities in Snowflake, and troubleshooting DAG in the Airflow. Now before actually going into each and every service individually, let's discuss the architecture diagram of this particular project. So the first thing in this particular architecture diagram we have is Amazon EC2, Elastic Compute Cloud. This particular service is kind of like the virtual machine. This is like your online computer where you can run your code, store your files, and can do anything that you can do on your local machine. So on EC2, we will write our Kinesis agent that is basically generating data, putting that data onto Amazon Kinesis Firehose. This particular service we will use for some basic transformation and to store that data onto S3 bucket. Now we will understand about these services in detail further down the video. I just want you to understand this architecture diagram and get basic understanding around it. Now once we have our data onto S3 bucket, we will trigger the Airflow function. Whatever the code we write, the transformation code that we will write onto Airflow will get triggered and transform that data and put that data onto S3 bucket. So we will have the raw data onto S3 bucket, and we will also have the processed data onto S3 bucket. After that, Airflow will also write that particular data onto Snowflake database so that you can write your queries, understand what is happening inside your data, and analyze more about it. So this is the basic architecture diagram of our system. Now, let's understand all of the individual services that we will be using in this particular project. First is IAM, Identity Access Management. Second is S3, Simple Storage Service. Third is EC2, Elastic Compute Cloud, Kinesis Firehose, CloudWatch, Kinesis Agent, and AWS Managed Airflow. Let's understand these services individually. First, we have AWS S3. S3 is basically an object storage. So if you want to store your files such as text file, images, videos, or anything, you can store on S3. S3 is a safe place to store your file. Data is replicated across multiple regions, so you don't have to worry about the data loss. Your file size can be anything from the 0 byte to 5 terabytes. There is unlimited storage on S3, and each and every files you store on S3 are stored inside the bucket. S3 bucket has universal names, so whatever the name you give to S3, it should be unique across the entire AWS ecosystem. You cannot repeat the AWS name, and once you upload your file, you will get the HTTP 200 code if the file gets uploaded successfully. Second service we have on the list is Identity Access Management. AWS Identity Access Management enables you to manage access to AWS services and resource securely. So if you want to give access to any users or service, you can do this by using IAM. So you can create groups, roles, users to give the right amount of access. The best practice is to give the least privilege access. That basically means you only give access to the services that are only needed by users. You don't give more than that. So all of these things you can easily manage using IAM. If you want to understand more about this, you can go to AWS documentation and read more about it. IAM is a feature of the AWS account offered at no additional charge. These are some of the use case of the IAM, such as fine-grained access control. So if you want to give the minimal access to the one particular service, you can do that. Multi-factor authentication, so you can easily secure your account. You can also analyze the access and integrate with the corporate directory. Third service on the list is AWS EC2, Elastic Cloud Compute. So EC2 is basically an online computer. So if you want to store your file run some code, you can easily do that on EC2. So there are multiple operating systems available on Amazon, such as if you want to run Windows machine, if you want to run Mac OS, Linux machine, Ubuntu, you can do that onto EC2. There are some other features such as complete control, flexible, it is elastic, you can easily scale it. The charges of the EC2 are based on the number of hours you use, and it is completely secure. Fourth service on the list is AWS Kinesis Firehose. Now Kinesis Firehose has multiple things. One is the delivery string, the underlying entity of the Firehose. Use Firehose by creating delivery stream to specify destination and send data to it. So the main use case of Kinesis Firehose is to accept data from Kinesis stream or any other sources and transform that data, if you want to do a little bit of transformation in between, and store that real-time data onto S3 bucket. So you can, second thing is record. The data of interest that your data producer sends to a delivery stream. A record can be large as 1000 KB. Now the actual data you send through the procedure are called as the record, and the size of the record can be max up to 1 MB or 1000 KB. Third thing is data procedure. Procedure sends records to delivery stream. For example, a web server sends a log to a delivery stream is a data procedure. So there are basically two things. One is a consumer and one is a producer. A producer system is basically that produces some kind of data such as sensors, a website log, or any event that has happened on the website. Consumer is basically someone who consumes that data and processes it. Fifth service on the list is AWS Managed Airflow. The pain point of Airflow is to installation and managing it. Now using these managed services, you don't have to worry about all of these things. So you can easily focus on the writing code part and don't worry about the infrastructure or the scaling part. It is a managed orchestration service for Apache Airflow. It is easier to set up and operate end-to-end data pipeline. So Airflow is basically the orchestration tool. If you have data coming from the one source and if you want to transform that data into multiple stages, then you can easily do that using Airflow. And if you know the basics of Python, then you can easily learn Apache Airflow and start creating the data pipelines. And at the end, we have Snowflake database. It is a software as a service that provides storage, processing, transformation, analytics, and all the other solutions. So if you want to store your data, analyze your data, you can use Snowflake database. Snowflake doesn't work on the old platforms such as Hadoop or Spark. Snowflake has its own SQL processing engine. You can also integrate with all of the major cloud providers. So this was everything about all of the services that we will be using in this particular project. So this was the architecture diagram that initially we discussed. So we will have some kind of Kinesis agent stored onto AWS EC2. Kinesis agent is basically the script that will generate data. This particular data will be sent to Kinesis Firehose, and from the Firehose we will store our data onto S3 landing bucket that will trigger the Apache Airflow, and it will start running the data pipeline, and it will get stored onto S3 bucket, the processed data, and it will also get stored onto Snowflake database, so you can easily analyze your pipeline. Now this particular project is available onto ProjectPro.io. If you want to learn and if you want to get the hands-on practice around this project, you can subscribe to ProjectPro.io and get started with it. These are the cutting-edge technology in the data engineering space, and if you want to learn these technologies, the best way to learn is by doing hands-on practice, and ProjectPro is one of the best way you can get started with it. So I will put the link in the description about this project and the ProjectPro website. So if you want to learn more about it and get the hands-on practice, you can go to ProjectPro.io and start doing it. Thank you for watching this video. See you in the next video.